You're going to see a very powerful man get emasculated. He is humiliated by his wife, caught red handed. The French president, as he arrives to Vietnam, the doors open, and behold, he is caught being pushed, being shoved by his wife. Check this out. Ouch. And then he plays it as in no big deal. And most nice guys, what they tend to do is they like to show the world that they have a great life, but behind the scenes is anything but great. They're hiding a lot of dysfunction, dark side about it. And when guys have a parent child relationship, obviously you can see she is the boss here, she is in charge. Now, watch this. It gets worse for the French president. He then, humiliated, trying to regain back some level of respect, puts his arm out for as to seek approval, and she denies him that approval. How humiliating is that? Now, she is about in her 70s and he is in his 40s. So there is always going to be a power dynamic between them. Now, a lot of nice guys do have this power struggle. They're too pleasing, less assertive. And when they're in those situations, they tend to be more feminine. And because they're more feminine, they tend to attract women who are more masculine, more domineering. And that's where women control. I've been in that situation as well, where I had a very controlling, dominating girlfriend, and she just ruined my life. It was like walking on eggshells. I was forever trying to please her, forever trying to pacify her, forever trying to rescue her, bring her out of her depression, her sadness, her anger, her hate. And that is no life. She had the power. I gave her all my power. She had my balls in her hand. And I admit this, I was a weak man, really weak man when it came to that relationship. Now, here, most nice guys like to show life's good. They'll have a really nice house, a really nice job, and barbecues at dinners. It'll just all be smiles. But as soon as all the guests have left behind closed doors, there could be anger, shouting, fights, arguments, humiliation. Worst thing is when that then spills out in social situations. I remember I was at a picnic in London Park with a few fellow speakers and coaches, and one of the coaches arrived with his new young girlfriend, and he was really chuffed. He was like, I've got this prize on my arm. And he bought some champagne. It was luxurious. He was really spoiling her, and he ran around after her all the time. As the evening wore off, she started to become more drunk. And as she was becoming more drunk, she was becoming more flirtatious. As she was becoming more flirtatious with other guys, it was starting to become really uncomfortable because everybody saw how she was behaving. She was behaving like a out of control child, saying obnoxious things, being really rude to her boyfriend. And I and the other people just cringed, just hated the fact. We felt so sorry for him. And he just kept getting ashamed and embarrassed. And he was running around after her like a little puppy just to pacify her. A guy like that allowed to be humiliated. French president allowed himself to be humiliated. Now, in a situation like this, what would you do? It's not always easy. When you're trauma bonded, when you're trapped in a relationship, when you have given all your power, it's very difficult to have that any sense of power in that situation. This is the unfortunate things, but the way things come out is either you hit breaking point, and when you hit breaking point, that's the actual point where it changes. But until then, usually that relationship will carry on and just get worse and worse and worse. So it'll go from the fact is I don't feel enough to I've had enough to I am enough, then I am. So there's like this is 4 stages. So until this breaking point doesn't hit, those relationships will continue. So there has to be a breaking point, rock bottom. It was for me, when I hit rock bottom, then that's when I started to realize and wake up. My friends, my family, everybody was else telling me, come on, Faisal, you're in this toxic relationship. You're being humiliated. You're being pushed around. You're under the thumb. My friends were being very humorous about it. Oh, Faisal, he's under the thumb. He won't be allowed out. And inside, I was dying of embarrassment, shame, and I felt so helpless inside. So I have some sympathy for the French president here, but also he's a world leader. He's got to show. He's got to lead by example, and this is not a great example. Now, I'm pleased that in the modern world, that this kind of behavior against men is being now shown. There's proof. There's always been a bias towards against men. There's always been men are toxic, men are abusers. And yeah, there's plenty of men are abusers and toxic. But equally, the feminine isn't innocent here. Now, it's easy to fall into the narrative of women are sweet, women are sugar, and all sweet, and everything is nice, and they're wonderful, they're angelic. And it's easy to have that kind of black and white thinking with women. And women will really portray themselves, not all, but real in a very emotional way, where they'll garner a lot of backing, garner a lot of trust, sympathy, because it's she speaks from a very emotional point of view. And when someone speaks from a very emotional point of view, you cannot but help but feel sympathy for them, can help feel empathy for them. When guys really do speak out, they speak in a very logical tone. I remember we had a lawyer, a female lawyer who helped men in court cases during divorce. And she said, Faisal, the reason that a lot of guys do struggle in courts, the reason why they don't get the fair hearing, they win the crowd, they don't win the jury, is because they talk from a very logical place, whereas a woman is really talking from an emotional point of view, and from there all the jury just feel really sorry for her. I'm so grateful for now social media. I'm so grateful for digital phones, because what's happening is they're capturing what goes on behind the scenes. There's so many footage of women emasculating, humiliating men, and there's plenty of guys that do that as well. So what I'm saying, there's an equal amount of damage both genders are doing. This is not about gender, actually. This is about human nature. Humans are destructive. Their light side and they have a dark side. The light side is very protective, nurturing, caring. The dark side, if you get onto that side, and again, it's very destructive. And the feminine destroys in a very covert way. The masculine destroys in a very overt way, very visible. It's very harsh. For example, when you look at say bullying in schools, research shows that when boys fight, it's like a fight and it's done, it's over, and the guys have moved on. And again, research shows that when girls fight, it's not just done and over, it's more like a campaign. There's more of a campaign. There's more of reputation destroying. There's more of the emotional destruction, and it's like poison ivy. The feminine, and again, men can do this too. It's not just to the gender, but the emotional destruction is through slow poison. It's like poison ivy. It just crawls in and starts to destroy. The way the masculine destroys is instant. So it's very much complete destructions. So guys, have you ever been in a situation where you have given up your power and then you've been humiliated, emasculated, embarrassed? There's a lot of shame around it. And because of a lot of shame around it, a lot of guys won't speak up and they will suffer in silence. You don't have to. Look, guys, the world is changing. We're waking up. Men are waking up to what's happening to them. women are waking up, what's happening to them as well. So we're waking up. There's a lot more evidence around this as well. So use this opportunity to see that men are also abused. Boys are also abused as much as women are abused and girls are abused. Humans are abused. Okay. So, and it's also easy just to blame the finger on other people. And, we're very good at that. There is a saying, it takes two to tango. When there is abuse, um, not always, and I'm use this carefully, not always that the perpetrator is always guilty. There's always some sort of power play, some sort of need for drama, addiction on either side that keeps people in a really unhealthy relationship. So there's a lot, it's very complex. It's not just simple black and white. So there's a lot of dynamics, there's a lot of narcissism that goes on in both sides as well. So again, I'm not saying that just it's black and white. I'm saying there's a lot of gray areas. It's far more complex than just even me just pointing out and judging this. I'm sure there's a lot of things that go behind the scenes, and he may be a completely different person behind the scenes. But based on what I can see, his body language, his demeanor, he seems like a really nice guy, like nice guy syndrome guy, which means that he's a complete people pleaser, approval seeking kind of guy. So I don't see him as a real strength and leader. I mean, he may be very good at his work, and I see a lot of men who are really powerful at work, but as soon as they come home, they are complete wimps. They are not men, as women will call them. They just become these malleable kind of guys who just get pushed around. And the moment you're pushed around, when you're a spineless man, you got no backbone, that's when women lose complete respect for you. And that's when men completely disrespect you, disown you, and never will call you a man. And the world, if you're running a country, you need a backbone. You need to be a strong man. You need to be a strong leader. And here is a great demonstration. So I'm glad, in a way, this came out for us to have some reference points for some learning. So, have you ever been emasculated as a guy? Have you ever been humiliated? Have you ever been socially ashamed or embarrassed? In private men's group, I hear it all the time. So if you have, put a comment in. Stay blessed.